André had begun the process with a joke. The fame of the fraternity was of course nothing of the kind. Those who seek truth for truth's sake are generally invisible to the blind eyes of the world, is how André and his friends would have seen the matter. In his untrumpeted collection of observations and dramatic pieces, Christian Mythologies, published in 1619, André hoped to bring the curtain down on the Rosicrucian furor. By turning the joke on its head. André envisions a scene where a number of his contemporaries, following certain indices, go in search of and eventually discover a secret vault. In an almost sick parody of the farmer, the explorers break down a wall. Torches in hand, they enter the darkness. There they discover a sarcophagus with an inscription upon it, Mea Tempora, my times. With great difficulty, they heave the tomb open. The contents of my times are shocking. Inside the sarcophagus lies a cadaver. Unlike the pure flesh of Christian Rosenkreuz, this body is horribly mutilated, the flesh consumed. After great effort, they succeed in uncovering a beautiful bronze plaque by the cadaver's rotting head. I, the truth, daughter of God, assassinated by the duplicity of Satan, by the corruption of the world, by the feebleness of the flesh, by the despotism of tyranny. By the stupidity of the people. I rest here, within the mud of the lie. In 100 years, the sun will see me again. Greetings, O posterity. This is the tomb of truth. In a startling image, André has succeeded in condensing his entire outlook and the real substance of the farmer as well. It is perhaps a sign of the perversity of the world that while his Rosenkreuz fantasy is remembered, this devastatingly truthful work lies rotting in obscure libraries. The truth is assassinated. Alas, Britannia was unaware of all this. Her greatest Rosicrucian advocate, the prolific author and Paracelsian doctor Robert Fludd, beginning in 1616, was always an outsider. This position would characterize British Rosicrucianism even up to the time of the studies of Dame Frances Yates in the 1970s. Historian Frances Yates advocated the now redundant view that the movement had its origins in the alchemico-spiritual adventures of the great John Dee. In the 1580s, Dee, accompanied by alchemist and clairvoyant Edward Kelly, had travelled to Poland and Bohemia with a message of angelically guided apocalyptic reform. Yates's hypothesis Together with that linking the genesis of the farmer to the political dreams of Frederick of the Palatinate, seen here with his British wife, the Princess Elizabeth, in her book, The Rosicrucian Enlightenment, published in 1972, has been exploded. The Rosicrucian movement was bred in Germany, albeit for export. The fraternity that turned up in England was a conception almost totally severed from its authentic politico-religious context. In spite, or perhaps because of this, its mystique proved no less fecund, however mutely its trumpets sounded. Rosicrucian ideals and images were part of the intellectual furniture of advanced mid-17th century philosophical, literary, and spiritual life. If you were concerned with science, you knew about the Rosicrucian fraternity, or thought you did. When Comenius dedicated his Via Lucis, the Way of Light, to the Illuminati, as he called them, of the Royal Society in 1668, he was fully aware of its debt to the farmer's inspiration. There is another institution which may owe a similar debt. The genesis of accepted or symbolic Freemasonry has also been linked to the Rosicrucian Brotherhood. In an issue of the London Magazine of 1824, Thomas de Quincey, the opium eater, concluded from his studies of the German historian Böhle that Rosicrucianism gave life to speculative Freemasonry. Dr. Robert Flood, with his copious continental contacts, was named as the progenitor of a transformation accomplished between 1630 and 1640. While it is true that two of the most notable accepted Masons of the 17th century were both enthused by the Fratres RC, namely Elias Ashmole and Sir Robert Murray, initiated in 1641, and whose seal you see here, and while both men were founder members of the Royal Society, and Sir Robert Murray was its president, there simply isn't sufficient 17th century Masonic evidence to warrant de Quincey's definitive conclusion. The mythology of Rosicrucianism refused to die. In the 18th century, Rosicrucianism, or Neo-Rosicrucianism, now linked directly to alchemy and the great movement of Christian pietism, spawned actual orders, such as the Germanic Gold- und Rosenkreuz, claiming derivation from the original, and we know non-existent, fraternity. These movements were generally pursued within the context of continental and American Freemasonry. The descendants of the Neo-Rosicrucian stream continue vigorously to this day. For example, Amorc, the ancient mystical order Rosicrucis, founded by H. Spencer Lewis in the last century in America and based in California. The various offshoots of the late 19th century and originally Masonic Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. The controversial Ordo Templi Orientis and its Hierophant Aleister Crowley. followers of Rudolf Steiner's anthroposophy movement, the Masonic Supreme Council of the ancient and accepted right 18th degree Rosicrucian, the Dutch-based Lectorium Rosicrucianum offers a neo-Gnostic Rosicrucian initiation and enlightenment program for all the family. Whatever the intrinsic interest of these movements, it is true to say that any claims, implied or otherwise, to be derived from the Fratres RC are groundless. André and his friends never wished to see their conception devolve into some kind of esoteric sect, sub-club, or assemblée of éminence grise, behind, above, or before any exclusive society whatever. To all that would listen, they said, do the spiritual work, that is, the ergon, and God will reveal his natural secrets, called the paragon or byproduct, to those who seek. The vault of the adept is, it seems, open to all that see it. The problem of the world's endemic spiritual blindness is no less a problem to us than it was for the true godfather of Rosicrucianism, Philip Theophrastus von Hohenheim, that is to say, Paracelsus.
I shall give you what no eye has seen, and what no ear has heard, and what no hand has touched, and what has never occurred to the human mind. The images are manifest to man, but the light in them remains concealed in the image of the light of the Father. He will become manifest, but his image will remain concealed by his light.
Also, our building, although 100,000 people had very near seen and beheld the same, shall forever remain untouched, undestroyed, and hidden to the wicked world.